So, this is the Land Rover in daylight. What have I done? So I now basically need to get this vehicle to the UK, and I'm in Armenia, which is about 3,000 miles away, and I'm going to be driving it. So I need to assess the vehicle, make sure that I'm comfortable with driving it. I didn't know how many kilometres it had on it. The little service sticker at the top said next service due at 179,000 kilometres, which is about 110, 12,000 miles. The speedo's not on at the moment. What I've seen in a lot of these fleet vehicles is they don't have a permanent feed on the dashboard or on the speedo for some reason. It's only when the vehicle's running that the speedo actually shows, which is not normal. Yeah. So I know absolutely nothing about this vehicle. There's no service history or anything like that. So I have to basically now do an assessment, figure out what's wrong with it. I brought some parts, but essentially today is Sunday, like right, it's the middle of the day, it's blooming hot. I arrived in the early hours of the morning. I've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday it's got its MOT equivalent to check that it's roadworthy. And then I fly back to the UK that night. I was originally thinking I would come here, sort it out, drive it, but I've not had the time to be able to do that, and it makes more sense to come and assess it, go back to the UK, and then I can bring out any other parts that I might need. So I can't really work here because it's on a slope and it's so hot, there's no shade. It's 32 degrees at the moment. So before I move it and start it, I think there's a place just a few streets away. I want to just assess things before I start it so I know that it's got oil in it and what the battery voltage is and that kind of stuff, and then I can test it, alternator voltage, that kind of stuff. Yeah, there we go. It's a bit different than the photos. It didn't have a roll cage in it from the photos I saw about 3 years ago, and it's had logos on it. I assume the logos would be taken off, but it looks like they may have been painted over, or they've been painted off and it took off paintwork with it and they painted that over. So I wasn't expecting that. That looks very rough and ready. Yeah, but it's you know, it's got wear. These are all just wear items. They're Land Rovers. We know we can fix all this stuff. You know, a few bits of plastic missing here and there, and you know. And this was an ambulance, so hence why it's got a stretcher carrier in the back as well. But if we look at the chassis, that's factory paintwork. I should probably tell you the most important detail. Why have I gone to all this trouble to buy this Defender? It's a 2006 300 TDI, a very late one. I'll be telling the full story about that another time, but this thing is going to be worth it. Okay, well, that's the first problem. Yeah, that was a new one on me. Okay, I'm going to have to buy a battery then, aren't I? Jesus. Okay, engine bay, good place to start. Oh, these wings are so hot. It's got original hose there. That looks like an original hose. Yeah, I mean look, factory marks. It is very original. So generally, I think it's looking pretty good. The interior's, I mean, it's shabby, a bit shabby. You know, this is where most of the use comes from. It's just a bit worn, but I know I can deal with all that. Doors are a bit of a denty bit in there, but that's just battle scars. But you know, the windows are nice. Door locks. Door card, you know, solid. It's a bit scuffed down here, but it's generally quite solid. So this one's had armour plating put in the last 3 years. So you can see it's basically a lot of welded up steel all down here. So that's not something that was able to be removed. It's all along the back there. Maybe I'll be able to remove that in future, but it's not mild steel, it's actual armour plating, so it's incredibly tough. It's got a Stanag rating, if you know what that means. Roll cage, it didn't have the roll cage, but it's had the roll cage because of the armour plating. This looks very kind of rough, so this has been put on in the last 3 years, but it looks like it's been used already. Yeah, the seats are worn, but no corrosion. You know, no corrosion. Look at the hinges. It's been an ambulance, so there's a few bits of paint missing, but you know, slight crease there, perhaps. I haven't got underneath yet, but there we go. Bit of mud. Got double helper springs. Shock absorber. Is that the cover that's come down? No, there's a cover missing from that. Oh, it looks like it's snapped. It's been welded there. Washers on the wrong way around, which is very common to see. But look, absolutely no corrosion. Around here, there's a bit of wear. And the door sills have definitely seen better days. Front door card. Yeah, it's nice. That door doesn't open. The key doesn't work on the outside. I wonder if the lock's been changed. I'll have to test that in a sec. As far as the engine goes, incredible. Steering. Maybe a bit of knocking, but you know, it's got original pipework. The alternator looks quite new. This is very unmolested. This is incredibly factory fresh. Bonnet's had a bit of a warp in there. The sticker's coming off. It doesn't have the bonnet mount because it's got a checker plate. Little hole there, but generally this is as it came from the factory. It's got a little extra wiring in here to see where that goes. It's got coolant. This is basically factory original. Look at that. No leaks on the fuel injection pump. Bit of leaks around the engine. You know, but that is amazing. This is something it did exist on the photos I saw, but it's I've not been able to see any detail on it, but because these doors are steel, I think they could potentially be repaired. A bit more, this is pressure washer rash. A few repairs there, popped rivets I expect. Same on this shock absorber. I think you could just do the wash, and it would make it a lot better, tart up a lot more. Bit of a crease in there, that's quite common. Fuel cap, no, I don't have a key for the fuel cap. I have no idea what's going on here. I think they've tried to glue on a bit of twine or something to make it like a cap that stays with itself. That's a bit weird. That's not been put on properly because that shouldn't have a crease like that in it, but so be it. Spare wheel carrier. It's probably the rustiest bit of the whole thing. Cross member. That can be saved. Instead of this paint splattered over where the logos were, I think the logos are still underneath. This paint is... I think we might be able to get that off, because it's probably just some cheap old paint. I think we might be able to get that off without damaging the actual paint underneath, which would be good. This door's seen a lot of use. You can see there the armour plating. About 6mm. It's got this little cupboard here. And there's the stretcher mechanism. So this is basically, this all had this in it. This has been taken out, armour plating has been put in, and then the stretcher's been put back on. Doors get a lot of use. Look at that. Seal's a bit tatty as well, but the door closes and it locks. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. But it's still got all the factory parts, like the, these. They've not been ripped off. It's not been messed around with too much. You can visualise what's been done. It's had the plating put in. Don't have a seatbelt. The requisite seatbelt clip mounting point for the seatbelt there. Look at the headlining. Wow. This thing's got so much potential. So much potential. It's a shame I can't actually start it right now. I'm going to go and buy a battery, but still, look at the state. Right, let's go underneath. Oh, even the doors sound new. In my bag of tricks, I bought an old roll mat. You see all the stuff I brought here. This is basically full of parts that I might need to work on the vehicle. See, we've got more armour plating in here. That's a bit buggered up. And we've only got Phillips screws to be able to get this off to get to the underside of here, which is a shame. Pedal. Bit rattling on the springs, but that's solid. I don't want to push it in because it might be the gear that's holding this up on a hill. Brake pedal. Worn, as you expect. That's nice. There's a bit of red dust down there. It's a bit. No free play in the mechanism. No free play in the mechanism. So, well, we've got leaks naturally. It's done 100,000 miles or so. So this leak, I don't think it's the bell housing. I can actually see in there. I can see the flywheel. And it's not rusty at all, it's very brand new. I think the leak's coming from here and it's coming down. There's no leak on this side to speak of. I'm going to have to test the prop shafts when I can get it on flat ground. Swivels. Not really leaking. Steering box, that's annoying. So it probably looks like it's leaking. There is a bit of a patch down there, just there. I mean, it's either the reservoir leaking from above and just dribbling down, or it is that seal in there, which I can't rule out. That's annoying. That's probably the leak, the one leak you don't want on a Defender, because these steering boxes are getting hard to find at a reasonable price. But look at that, the exhaust pipe, zero rust. There's no damage. Well, there's a little bit there, but generally, got a bit of a leak on the transfer case. Interestingly, R380 drain plug is a 1/2 inch drive. It's not a 32mm nut. I've never seen that. We've probably got a bit of a leak here on the transfer case because we've got some oil around the front output flange. Some fluid there. This has been parked for 2.5 weeks here, so that's 2.5 weeks work. So the leak's not epic, I don't think, but it'll probably leak more when it's actually running. Handbrake cable, bit worn there. And the back, the diff is a bit of a weep, nothing epic. Bit of a crack in the bush there, bit of wear, but generally I would say they're okay. But the chassis has got no damage on it. There's no kind of off-roading, well actually apart from that bit, there we go, so there's a little bit of off-roading damage. See the bracket there's straight, that one's got a kink in it, a couple of dents actually. So when I say no damage I mean no epic damage, nothing that wouldn't be out of place on a Defender. Back here is better than the front I'd say, because less leaks, but the bushes okay. Exhaust is intact. I've seen so many vehicles with the exhaust is hanging off. Yeah, these are the shocks. I think they are genuine shocks. It's just missed the. I think they've snapped at the top and been re-welded, and they've missed in the cover. That's the only thing. Bushes are okay. Same in here. Board ruts are okay. Not really much damage. Little dents in the fuel tank. There's a leak here on the diff. You can see that. It's either that bolt or the valley. It looks like it's been seeping a bit out of here, but that's not a big deal. I'll have to test the prop shafts when I get on flag around. Tyres are mud tyres. What are they? CF 3000, that says. And they're 2020 date stamped. And they're the right size, so I'm fairly comfortable these are good condition, even though they might be probably a bit noisy. Fuel tank breather is flopping down there. That's going to get pinned back up. I think there's a definite leak on the bottom of the drop, or on the drop arm seal, which I think is that leak. This one is bigger, that much, in 2.5 weeks. There's drips on the steering guard here, which runs down from here, which runs down from up there. So I think that'll be the reservoir leak. You see the pipe doesn't end up crimping, or there's a leak around the rubbery pipe, which is the feed pipe, and it just dribbles down. It's very common. But the solution really is just keep topping this up. Interesting, this seems a bit more wobbly than I would expect. Anyway. See fluid there? Yeah, it's topping up, it's off the bottom. It's right down actually, really down. One of Belize used to have to keep getting topped up. So that's, I'm not going to replace the steering box obviously, but or the pipe, that's going to be too much of a faff, but I can just keep this topped up and that'll work. Radiator's wobbling, quite a bit of wobble there. Look at that, might be bushes, probably bushes. That's the original coolant pipe. They're looking a bit scuffed, as is the one down there. I can wrap some tape on them. Engine oil, let's give that a clean. Well, the level's going to be high, see that? Notch, there's the full, there's the high, because it's on a slope. So I'm not actually using the low, I just want to see all the oils. And it actually has oil, which it does. This is interesting. A Marlow oil filter on that, that's OC, the one that's on there, OC236, the one I brought from the UK, OC261. It does look a bit short, you know, a bit short, so definitely we'd be wanting to put that one on. Fuel filter, the one that's on there is KC18, this one's KC38. The other difference is these two say made in China, the ones on the vehicle. These ones are made in Austria. So maybe a quality difference there, you don't know. But certainly these are, if you can get Marley in this kind of part of the world, it'll be coming from China, seems to be. And they tend to fit the ones that fit rather than the ones that are designed for the vehicle, potentially. Viscous fan rotates. Look at the play in that though. That's not good, that's on its way out. They're just having a look at sunflower seeds everywhere. They must be the choice for everyone. Former drivers and everything. Just found a nail in here as well. That's where you keep your nail. But most importantly, the VIN plate. That's the one that's supposed to be down there, but it isn't, and I thought it wasn't going to exist, so that's a good find. I'll talk more about that at a later time. Checking the fuses are all correct, which they are, because you never know if anyone's... I've seen ones where people have bypassed the fuse with just a bit of wire, and the gully plug timer's a bit loose, so I have to tighten that. Spanner, washer. Just found one of these in the back. There we go. Oh, I've just had to come inside because it's hot. Have a break. What I did find, there was an envelope with some documents in, which is quite cool. So this one's a mileage log, or kilometre log. So everywhere it started and finished was recorded, and the number of kilometres it did each day went on there. So we're doing 40, 50, 30, a lot of these days. And that was in February 23. And the mileage down there is 171,000, almost 172. These are all a bit out of order, but the highest I've found, August 2023, there we go, or beginning of September actually, 2023, 178,700, 178,000 basically. So that's about 111,000 miles, which is not insignificant, but pretty low by 300 TDI standards these days, and it's a 17-year-old vehicle. It did actually spend a lot of its time not really doing much in that time. The condition though is excellent. I don't think I particularly have a problem with driving this long distance because it doesn't look particularly worn. I've seen a lot of fleet vehicles and some of them are utterly horrendous. But I'm going to be giving it a good service, going through some of the little niggles that I've identified. I think radiator wobbling is one I'm going to have to solve. What else have I written down? I think brake fluid, all the fluids are high, the front power steering is quite low, but it's leaking quite a lot. But I think you can get by that by just topping up every day and checking throughout the day. What else have we got here? Tyre valve caps missing, no big deal. I'll change the filters. Otherwise it's just general Land Rover leaks from transfer box and swivels that not particularly epic. The swivel is actually pretty worn and they're not that wet, so they probably could do with a bit of grease in there. What I do need to do now is go and buy things like a jack and axle stands and a battery so I can actually move this so I can work on it, check things like prop shafts, take off the drive members and check just there's enough grease and wheel bearing play and all that kind of good stuff. So that's probably going to come in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.